Alrighty, folks, we are 7-0 in our last 7 crowd pleaser teasers on my premium page. And it is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. Happy Tuesday to you. Hopefully you had a great start to the new week. Happy birthday to the V, my dad. Happy birthday. Hope it's a good one. And if you're joining me for the first time here today, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And I'm feeling great on a Tuesday morning because we're coming fresh off a 5-1 day on the premium page for Monday. We had the Yankees on the alternate run line, Tigers, Rays, Brewers on the alternate run line as well. And we also cashed in on the under in that Connecticut Golden State game in the WNBA. And the only way you could have cashed in on all of those winners is to join my full access, all-inclusive Gold Club membership. Gold Club members get access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. I also have plenty of free content on the premium page as well. That includes my current overall win-loss record. Don't have to pay to take a look at that. Just go to the post section and scroll down until you find it. Folks, some really good news here. We are 3-0 in our last 3 daily best plays, 5-0 in our last 5 extra daily picks, and once again, we are 7-0 in our last 7 crowd pleaser teasers. And the good news is I got plays going off in all of those packages here today, and they're all included with your Gold Club membership. I currently have over 2,600 members. We're signed up and active on the premium page as of right now. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. Going to start off with the Mariners at the Orioles, 635 East. Seattle's $1.65, totals 9 runs. George Kirby on the bump for the Mariners, Dean Kremer for Baltimore. And despite a handful of solid outings, the righty Kremer does not have a winning record on the year. Currently has an ERA of 4.35. And these Baltimore pitchers have definitely hurt these guys this season. They're in the bottom 3 in hits allowed per contest. And they're facing a Seattle club who actually does their best hitting away from T-Mobile Park. Seattle's a top 3 run producing team in their travels. Cal Raleigh, 45 homers, 98 RBI, leading the majors in both of those categories. Josh Naylor has an OPS in the 900s with his new ball club in Seattle. Of course, as a team, the Red Hot Mariners did get the W in their last 7 straight. Nice little winning streak for them. When it comes to the total, Mariner games went 60% to the over in their last 10. Of course, nearly 60% of their road games this year got over the total as well. I like the Mariners minus 165, over 9. Marlins, Guardians, 640 East. Cleveland's $1.40, totals 9. Logan Allen for the Guardians. Jansen Junk for Miami. Now, Junk 6-2 on the year. Marlins with plenty of run support on the road. Miami averages 9.1 hits a game in their travels. Top 5 run-producing team on the road this year. Doing a great job hitting the baseball away from Lone Depot Park. Kyle Stowers, 25 homers, 71 RBI. Xavier Edwards is hitting 305. And they're facing a Cleveland squad who's definitely struggled against National League opponents. They've got just a 388 win percentage in their interleague home games. Of course, on the mound, this Guardian pitching staff's definitely had some control issues. They're in the bottom 5 in walks per game on the mound. We could see more of the same here with Logan Allen on the bump today, 7-9 record, whip of 1.37. When it comes to the total, 6 out of Marlins' last 10 ball games did get over the number. I like the Marlins plus $1.20, over 9. Phillies, Reds, 640 East. Philadelphia's $1.55, totals 9. Ranger Suarez for the Phils, Brady Singer for Cincinnati. Now, Singer's just 1 win shy of double digits on this season, 113 strikeouts. Of course, as a staff, the Reds have been tough to hit against at the Great American Ballpark. They're limiting opposing sluggers to just 7.5 hits a game on their own diamond. As good as the Phils have been playing, well, They haven't been overly explosive at the plate, really, in the past week or so. They're actually held to 4 runs or less in 4 out of their last 5 outings. Now, Phil's games also went 60% to the under in their last 10. Reds with unders in 8 out of their last 10 themselves. I like the Reds plus 1.5, under 9. Twins, Yankees, 7:05 East. New York's minus 220, totals 9. Carlos Rodon for New York. Tom Hatch for Minnesota. Now, the Twins have played their worst baseball on the road this year. It's just a .393 win percentage in their travels. Pretty much doing a mediocre job at the plate. The Twins are a bottom 10 run scoring team, and they're facing a Yankee pitching staff who's definitely been tough to hit against in the Bronx. The Yankees allow just 7.3 hits a game in their own ballpark, .641 win percentage against American League opponents at home. Of course, on the mound, 11-win Carlos Rodon's punched out 159 batters, currently has a 1.10 whip. Of course, 67% of New York's home games against American League competition stayed under the total this year. Minnesota with unders in nearly 60% of their contests away from target field. I like the Yankees minus 1.5, under 9. All right, next game, Cubs, Blue Jays, 7:07 East. Toronto's minus $1.25, totals 9. Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays, Ben Brown for Chicago. And listen, man, both starters better buckle up because they are facing some dangerous lineups. Chicago's a top 3 run-producing team. Toronto averages nearly double-digit hits a game. Of course, when it comes to the Blue Jays, they saw overs in 8 out of their last 10 contests. Bo Bichette leads the clubhouse in RBI. Vlad Guerrero with an OPS in the high 800s. Meanwhile, the Cubs saw overs in 7 out of their last 10 gatherings with the Blue Jays. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. Seiya Suzuki, 27 homers, 84 runs batted in. Kyle Tucker, OPS of 854. I like the over 9 runs. Braves, Mets, 7:10 Eastern start. New York's $1.35, totals 8.5. Clay Holmes for the Mets, Spencer Strider for Atlanta. And Strider's just 5-9 on the year, really not getting a whole lot of run support. The Braves strike out a bunch of times at the dish per game, bottom 10 in runs per contest. And they're facing a Mets pitching staff who's definitely been tough to hit against in Flushing, Queens. They're allowing just 3.8 runs a game at Citi Field, top 10 in strikeouts per game on their own diamond. We could see more of the same with Clay Holmes on the hill, 3.46 ERA, actually just 1 win shy of double digits. New York saw 62% of their divisional home games stay under the total this year. Atlanta with unders in 6 out of their last 10. I like the Mets minus 135, under 8.5. Tigers, White Sox, 7:40 East. Detroit's $1.80, totals 9. Jack Flaherty for the Tigers, Mike Vassell for Chicago. Now the Sox dropped 7 out of their last 8 ball games, having a tough time against divisional opponents. Chicago's just 8-23 against AL Central competition. Of course, at the plate, the Sox have struggled getting on the base paths. They're actually averaging just 7.5 hits a game. And they're facing a Detroit pitching staff who does a pretty nice job away from Comerica Park. Detroit's in the top 10 in fewest runs allowed on the road. And starting pitcher Jack Flaherty comes into today's contest with 147 strikeouts and a 1.28 whip. I like the Tigers minus 1.5, under 9. Pirates, Brewers, 7:40 Eastern start. Milwaukee's $1.25, total 7.5. Freddie Peralta for Milwaukee, Paul Skeens for Pittsburgh. And even though Skeens has had some dynamic stuff this season, he somehow still comes into today's matchup with a losing 7-8 record on the year. And listen, that's really not overly shocking because this Pittsburgh lineup is averaging just 3.2 runs a game on the road this year. And they're playing at American Family Field here this evening. That's been a tough place to score runs at this year. Visiting teams are averaging just 3.6 runs a game there. Milwaukee's currently in the top 3 in strikeouts per game at home. They also have a 13-5 Freddie Peralta on the hill, ERA of 3.03, WHIP of 1.14. Of course, when it comes to the total, the Pirates have seen 65% of their divisional contests stay under the number, 11-3 to the under in their divisional road games. I like the Brewers minus $1.25, under 7.5. Nationals Royals 7:40 Eastern start. Kansas City's $1.85, totals 9. Michael Wacha for the Royals, Mitchell Parker for Washington. And even though Parker's had his fair share of rough outings, he has recorded 7 wins on the year. Of course, that's been a solid run line covering team on the road. And they're facing a KC squad who's got a losing record against the run line at Kauffman Stadium, really having problems getting base runners. This is something that we've talked about day in and day out. KC's dead last in walks per game at the plate, averaging just 3.2 runs a game in their own stadium. For a team that has a pitching staff as good as these guys, the bats aren't even doing the bare minimum. They've got to do better if this team wants to make somewhat of a push. And listen, because of that lack of run support, starting pitcher Michael Wacha comes into today's start with a losing 6-9 record on the year, despite some real solid outings. Even his stellar outings, he's taken the loss on. Now, 6 out of the Royals' last 10 meetings with Washington did stay under the total. So once again, if you're into historical trends, you certainly want to think about that one there. Of course, Kansas City games went 61% to the under at Kauffman Stadium this year. No real surprise there. You don't score runs, a lot of unders. I like Washington plus 1.5, under 9. Rockies Cardinals 7:45 East. St. Louis is $1.80. Totals 8.5. Matt Liberatore for the Cards. Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Now Freeland's 2-12 with an ERA of 5.53. And these Rocky pitchers have been pretty brutal this season. They give up more runs a game than any other pitching staff, dead last in strikeouts. And out of their last 10 gatherings with St. Louis, they gave up 5.1 runs a game during that span. Now, as far as this year's concerned, this Cardinal lineup's done a nice job making contact. They're fanning just 7.1 times a game at Busch Stadium. Wilson Contreras with the most RBI in the clubhouse. Ivan Herrera, OPS of 839. Of course, as a team, the Redbirds got the W in 6 out of their last 9 ball games. Now, total-wise, Colorado games went 8-2 to the over in their last 10. I like the Cardinals minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. Diamondbacks Rangers 8:05 East. Texas is $1.45. Totals 8.5. Jack Leiter for Texas. Anthony DeSclafani for Arizona. Now, DeSclafani's got just 1 win on the year, ERA of 4.20. Of course, these Arizona pitchers are in the bottom 5 in hits allowed per contest. They're facing a Texas squad who's done a nice job at Globe Life Field. These guys do have a .607 win percentage in their own building. Adolis Garcia, team leader in runs batted in. Corey Seager, OPS of 847. I like the Rangers minus 145, over 8.5. Red Sox Astros should be a good one. 8:10 Eastern start. Both clubs are minus $1.10, pretty much a coin flip. Totals 8 runs. Spencer Arrighetti for the Astros. Dustin May for Boston. Of course, both starters with their fair share of struggles this year. Dustin May's just 6-8 on the year with a cumulative ERA close to 5. Meanwhile, Houston's Spencer Arrighetti, just 1 win on the year, ERA in the 7s. And because as bleak as this pitching matchup looks, it could make for a high-scoring game. Houston's a top 3 hit-producing team. Boston in the top 5 in runs per contest. Trevor Story's the team leader in runs batted in for the BOS Sox. Alex Bregman, OPS of 923. Meanwhile, for the Astros on the other side, it's Christian Walker who leads the organization in runs batted in. Carlos Correa with an OPS in the thousands with the Astros. Of course, Houston games went 7-3 the over in their last 10. Boston with overs in 8 out of their last 10 themselves. Give me the over 8 runs. Dodgers Angels 9:38 East. The Dodgers are a $1.90, totals 10. Emmett Sheehan for the Dodgers, Victor Medeiros for the Angels, and Medeiros has an ERA of 4.50 after just a handful of innings with the Angels. Their pitching has definitely hurt him for most of the season. The Angels walk more batters a game than any other team, definitely struggling with control, struggling with command, bottom 5 in runs allowed, no real shock there. And unfortunately for the Angels, they're facing a Dodger club who is amongst the highest run-scoring teams in Major League Baseball. Shohei Ohtani, 42 home runs, 78 RBI. Will Smith, OPS of 933. Comes to the total. The Angels saw overs in 8 out of their last 10. 5-2 to the over in their last 7 at home. I like the Dodgers, -1.5, over 10. Padres, Giants, 945 East. San Francisco's a $1.20, totals 8 runs. Robbie Ray for the Giants, Nestor Cortez for San Diego. Now the Padres are on a 3-game winning streak, 7-3 straight up in their last 10. And the San Diego pitching staff's definitely been tough to hit against this year. They're giving up only 3.8 runs a game, top 3 in fewest hits allowed. They're going up against a Giants team who's had all kinds of problems at the plate. They're averaging just 3.6 runs a game at Oracle Park, losers of their last 3 straight. When it comes to the total, the Giants' last 4 games at home stayed under the total, 60% to the under in their last 10 at any location. Meanwhile, the Padres saw unders in 3 out of their last 4 on the road. I like the Padres plus $1, under 8. With that, folks, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. Rays, Athletics, 10:05 Eastern start. The Athletics are -$1.20, totals 9.5. Jacob Lopez for the A's, Shane Boss for Tampa Bay. Now, Boss has punched out 133 batters, 8 recorded wins on the season. Of course, as a staff, the Rays have definitely been tough to hit against in their travels. They're giving up only 7.5 hits a game away from Steinbrenner Field. They're going to take on an A's lineup who has had some difficulties making contact with the baseball. They're in the bottom 10 in strikeouts per game at home. And out of 58 contests at Sutter Health Park, the A's have a win percentage of just .396. Now, total-wise, both squads with unders in 6 out of their last 10, respectively. I like Tampa Bay plus $1, under 9.5. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. Give me the Mariners -165, over 9 runs. Marlins plus $1.20, over 9. We're 7-0 in our last 7 crowd pleaser teasers on my premium page. Cincinnati plus 1.5, under 9. Yankees -1.5, under 9 runs. Give me the over 9 in that Cubs-Blue Jays matchup. Mets -135, under 8.5. Tigers -1.5, under 9 runs. Brewers -$1.25, under 7.5. Nationals plus 1.5, under 9. Cardinals -1.5, over 8.5. Rangers -145, over 8.5 runs. I like the over 8 in that Red Sox-Astros matchup. Dodgers -1.5, over 10. Padres plus $1, under 8 runs. Give me Tampa Bay plus $1, under 9.5. And that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And just a friendly reminder, if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium page, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. That's why I always tell folks, that Gold Club package, it's a full access, all-inclusive membership. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, got to thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Once again, apologize that we're not in our usual environment here. The setting's a little bit different. So I thank you guys for bearing with me with the Wi-Fi issues. And we don't have the screen behind me, but we're going to make do and get the job done with the podcast. So I appreciate you understanding. And with that, happy Tuesday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.